O'Brien of California Davis.
Obviously, the Jets know something that, the people up there don't. Fullback, hello.
Roger Vick, Jeff Lageman.
Jets just don't understand the draft all about.
Blair Thomas, running back, Penn State. Johnny Mitchell. The New York Jets select tight end from Penn State, Kyle Brady. Vernon Golson.
Cleveland traded the 5th pick to the New York Jets. And with the 5th pick in the 2009 NFL Draft, New York Jets select Mark Sanchez.
D. Milner.
Geno Smith. Jets select quarterback Christian Hackenberg.
Sam Darnold.
The New York Jets select Zach Wilson.
Future Pro Bowler, Elijah Moore.
Michael Carter, running back.
All right, we forgot to put our people up there. Future Pro Bowler Elijah Moore. That's Jeremy's. That's his boy.
It stings.
Correctly,
It stings. Right? It stings. It stings. Nothing quite like watching our Jet fans chant for Warren Sapp in celebration and watching them pick Kyle Brady.
It's a funny thing. And now, do you remember that draft? Were you watching it?
Oh yeah. I didn't know that much back then. Maybe people are gonna. I just opened myself up. People can say you don't know anything now, but it was actually my friend. I was at my friend's house with his family, and they were like screaming, "We're gonna get Warren Sapp!" They were going ballistic. I didn't know anything, but I was happy because they were happy, And when they said tight end Kyle Brady, I knew enough to say, "Really, we went for a tight end when you're telling me there's this amazing defensive lineman we should be taking?"
Hall of Famer. The only one who didn't see it was Rich Kotite, and he was our de facto GM.
Ugh.
And because Dick Steinberg passed away, and Hess just said, "Hey, man, you look like you're totally qualified." So he was the only one. He said, "I couldn't pass on a guy like Kyle Brady." I do get it, but not in the face of Hall of Famer. So what's up, everybody? This is the 10 o'clock mock. I will admit I am feeling queasy. So I don't know what it is. 20 minutes ago or so, I just started feeling sick to my stomach. It's not getting better. So I'm a little bit sapped. So we're gonna Jeremy's here, Jets Chaos. Dom's away on an amazing cruise with his family.
He loves those cruises.
He does. He loves them, and good for him. You know. But so we'll get through this thing. I'm not feeling well. I don't feel well, buddy. So we got a theme tonight for the 10 o'clock mock. What we've done is we've went quality over quantity. So we used a couple of the late round picks to move up. We have moved up to 96, and then we moved up from 145 to 126. So we have 6 picks in tonight's draft. I'll show you. There it is. All right, so I can scroll down a bit.
I got to say, GreenBean was showing me this beforehand when I came in. I would love this scenario. I like this bet. I as much as I love picks in this draft, the picks you gave up, getting us that extra third rounder, I like it. I like it, man. Getting us that 4th pick under 100 is huge, especially in a draft like this.
Right. I think it's pretty good too. So, and we haven't done this yet, using the back end to squeeze out some value on the front end. So that's what we'll do. We do a 3-minute poll. Jeremy and I will talk about a few prospects, and we will put them in the poll for you guys, and you guys make the decision on who's getting selected. So we'll see how it goes, and I hope I make it, man. I literally, when I was talking right there, I took a little turn for the worse. I was like, ooh, I might puke right now. So, Jeremy, we're gonna do our best. And you're the
All
man.
right.
I want you to talk a lot.
Okay, I will. A lot of people would say and agree that I am capable of talking a lot.
Yes. I agree.
What I noticed in a lot of these mock drafts, we all get really sucked into position, the position to be. What I'm wondering is at what point, which of these picks at 96 or 126, at what point do you abandon that and say, hey, you got to start picking the best player. You can't fill a position with some guy who may or may not be good because it's the position you need when there's a clear better player sitting there.
Yeah.
Right? So at what point do you say, you know what, the draft is not only about filling positions of need for this upcoming year, it's about building for the future. So I'm going to be interested in when we do that shift and just start taking the best players.
Well, maybe we'll do that right now. Who knows? So let's start this draft and get it going, Jeremy. Here we go, buddy.
All right. So exciting when this happens.
It really is. All right. So before our picks, we'll take a look. Dude, I'm going to throw up. I can feel it. My gut is tight. I'm telling you, I'm not going to make it.
They got Walter Nolan ranked 8th. Jeez, so different on all the different websites.
All right, I'm going to yak, buddy. I need you just to talk for a few minutes. I'm sorry.
Okay. You go. He's going to go yak. So look, guys, I can't control this. I can't move it down, but I could tell you that it looks like Membu is probably still on the board. Tyler Warren is still on the board. Based on who's been taken, we could see that Sanders is still on the board. This is different than the other mocks I do, so I'm a little taken aback. To McMillan ranked 3rd is very different. Today Barron doesn't shock me, but Walter Nolan at 8. I love Walter Nolan, like love. But man, I was getting used to getting him in the 2nd round, to be honest. But I mean, he's a superb pick. I mean, you guys we're gonna do a poll. You guys all have decisions to make. You know, I love that there's guys like McMillan, who's the number 1 wide receiver on my board. I have some hesitations at 7 though. Walter Nolan, I totally love. The problem with some of these positions, especially the defensive tackle position, is that defensive tackle, one of the things you have to measure in is a position we can easily fill a little bit later in the draft. I'm not saying we could wait till 1,000. I mean, we can't wait to the 5th round or anything, but there are a lot of defensive tackles that could be day 1 starters. I'm not so sure that's the case with wide receivers or tackles. Tackles, we can get lucky. You might get a Josh Connerly in the 2nd round. You might get Easerly in the 2nd round. Easery. I mean, we'll see how the draft falls. But the point is there's a lot of risk involved in passing on offensive line in the 1st round. When you talk about tight ends, much less risk as far as not being able to get a tight end. But I know a lot of people love Tyler Warren. He's the safest, probably the safest pick in the draft for us if we can't trade back, would be as far as the highest floor. But he doesn't necessarily have the best ceiling. And again, we don't know 100% that Mason Taylor, that Fannin aren't going to be guys that we wished we took. It's really hard to know that Warren's going to be better than every tight end in the draft class, but he's the safest one. He's like, in my opinion, he's like the most guaranteed to be, at worst, a really good starting tight end in the NFL. So he makes a lot of sense there. I think Membu makes a lot of sense. No one is thrilled if we can't trade back with the idea that, we're not getting a blue chip prospect here. But that doesn't mean we're not getting a star, right? Like the guy we pick, we could pick Membu here and he might be an all-pro right tackle for years. We could pick Tyler Warren. He might end up being an all-pro tight end for years. Like any of these guys could end up in hindsight being blue chip picks. But as prospects, there's no blue chip prospect. But we have to understand that's not the Jets' fault. That's not anybody's fault. That's just the way things have fallen. So I filled in the time, GreenBean. So I'm explaining that we might have to make a pick here that's not necessarily a blue chip prospect, but plenty of guys that could potentially be Pro Bowl players.
But here's where we differ. You said it's not the Jets' fault. I think it is.
We should have lost 2 more games.
And the fact that, they always are, they have these good picks when the draft isn't stocked, And it's like, hey man, why don't you fucking suck right? But anywho, you did a great job. Let's start the draft as far as, so look, we'll make our poll. We got all our guys are there, I think, right? Pick.
Yeah, even Dom C from the cruise ship is here.
What the hell is he doing, that guy?
I know, dude. Hit
Crazy.
the buffet. Hit the buffet, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I love him.
We got a super chat already, just so you know. I want to make sure. I don't know what you see and don't see.
Yeah. Oh, Jeremy, I'm not all right, buddy. All right, so we got Tyler Warren. Right? Who else you want?
I don't know if you want to throw McMillan on there.
Tet.
And then there is Membu.
There's only one L in Tet McMillan, huh?
There's two.
Yeah.
Capital M, lowercase c, capital M-I-L-L-A-N.
All right. Who was your fourth?
Membu.
I got Membu. Hold on a second.
Warren, McMillan, Membu. Those are three. You want a fourth? You go Mike Green. You could go Matt. You can go Golden. You could go Walter Nolan. I mean, or Harmon must still be there. A lot of boards have Harmon as the guy after Mason Taylor.
Yeah,
this is a weird rankings.
Yeah. All right, let's put up Mike Green.
Mason Taylor, Mason Graham. Mike Green's
Mason Graham is gone? Is not
No,
gone?
Mason Graham is gone. He was picked by the Giants in this one. But I was just making fun of myself for saying his name wrong. Mike Green's an interesting one to put up there because he's a guy that nobody wants. The Jet fans don't want, except in 3 years from now when he's the guy getting 17 sacks or something.
We're going to be like, why didn't this team?
Why did we take him?
Yeah, totally. Oh, yeah. And that's all right. We can do that. Let's look at Mark Zucchetti. He's like, Bean, if you needed rest, I thank you, Mark. I question my logic sometimes. But look, we took away 2 picks, so that'll accelerate it, right? We'll see how we do. If I have to break off, because let me tell you, like I didn't even throw up that much, like a little bit, but it's like at that moment it was like no, now, if that happens again, maybe we cut it. But let's go. Let's get to this here super chat from Money Mitch, the great. Why do you guys think we'll actually pick? Who do you guys think will actually pick first? Something tells me it's going to be a non-sexy pick, like the offensive tackle or defensive tackle. Not against it, but a weapon would be nice. Yeah, I'm right there with you. But here's the thing: I really do think that Tyler Warren is the pick. I think, I think that this is what I think is going to happen. I know it's been talked about, but it's been forgotten already. I think the Josh Myers signing is bigger than we think. He's Justin Fields' college center, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
He has clauses in his contract about Pro Bowl shit and all that kind of stuff. And think about this, Jeremy. We're going into the draft, and our offensive line is already done. They just didn't tell anybody. So they let the smoke, Membu. Not that they don't like him, not that he's not a good player. But then if teams really want Membu, they'll even consider jumping up, or they're going to take, you know what I mean? It starts to make a little bit of a melee before our pick, potentially, because we want Tyler Warren. And we'll get deep, depth offensive linemen in the second, third, fourth, that kind of thing. But that's what I think. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's Membu. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Right. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I mean, the flexibility, and I know people hate this, and they said they wouldn't do it, but like you said, smoke screens. The flexibility to use Myers at center. Tipman's a better guard than he is a center. I mean, he really is. Yeah. He's a better guard than he is a center. He has more value there. He's going to end up a guard in his career. I do not see this guy playing center his entire career. It is.
Well, and think about it, Jeremy. The only problem with that, because I'm right with you. I think most people are. I think he's a fine center, but guard better. And the only issue is AVT at tackle. You know, not that he's not good at it. He's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can, then you get a Trapillo in the third, or you know what I mean, somebody, and now he's sitting for a year or whatever. But it's real interesting if we go into the draft and our offensive line's already done. We're already looking at other stuff. You know what I mean? That's an interesting way to play it, and would give me a lot of respect for the organization, like that, their ability to effectively screen with smoke. All right, I forgot to put the timer on. Go ahead, make your comment.
They might also recognize the fact that you're not going to fill every hole and have every dream guy in every position, you know, in 1 year, and that they weren't going to fix the situation they're in 1 year with everything that's going to make us happy. And this kid we picked up from New England, who really didn't play for New England, but 3 years of starting at Pittsburgh, they might say, yeah, we might have to suck up a year of this kid. And he has 3 years starting experience. Maybe, like you said, you get a guy like Ozzie Trapillo in the third round, he competes. But like the worst case scenario is, hey, we're just going to address other positions. We want to use our picks to, to fill the tight end, the wide receiver, the defensive tackle. Maybe that's just what we want to do. And like next offseason, we'll worry about right tackle, a guy we picked to develop or using a pick. But like everybody always says, why do we always have to use a first round pick to find an offensive lineman?
Right. So, all right, let's end this poll. We got 50 votes. I'm hoping you guys are a little more active than last week, but no judgment. You do it how you want to do it. But let's go ahead and end it. It's close, but looks like Tyler Warren is the pick, Jeremy. So we're going to go ahead and do that.
I like
Tyler Warren. Where is he, this guy? All right, we're going to draft Tyler Warren and see where it goes. It is pouring like ribbons of lightning right now, too, so I'm hoping
I missed
that holds up, too.
I missed that.
All right, let's see what. So we're going into the second. Remember, guys, if you got here late, the theme tonight is we use some of our late round picks to move up a little bit. We went from our fourth round pick to the third, and we took pick 145 and made it 126 to get back into the fourth. So we got 6 picks tonight, but a little bit higher. Oh, there goes Ty Williams. Let's just look real quick. Besh is gone. TJ Sanders is gone. Eamon Wari is gone. Wow, Kevin Banks made it to this. Oh, I guess that's only the second. All right.
Harmon went 31st to Kansas City. Wow.
All right, so this is all okay. So we got our tight end.
Ooh, look at Josh Connerly.
Josh Connerly. Okay, so here's the poll.
Higgins.
So all right, so I think Kevin Winston, safety, position of need, and a badass.
Yeah.
Let me do this poll. I got to figure out. This is like the old days, Jeremy. I got to figure out how to balance all the windows and all right, so this is pick 42. Am I correct?
This is pick 42. And
right, we got Kevin Winston, the safety. We have Josh Connerly.
Wow. And I think I saw Higgins still alive up there. If you want to grab that wide receiver.
Jaden Higgins.
I don't know if that's going to happen in reality, but man, if he was there, that's pretty sweet.
Well, let's do a 3-banger too. So we're going to make this a little bit more condensed. So I'm going to put the 3-minute timer up. I implore especially all the YouTube folks. We got 130 in here, so not a bad crowd. And let's see if we can get 100 of you to vote. So here comes the poll. It's up there for you guys. I'm going to start the 3-minute timer. I tell you, I only threw up just a little bit, but I got to tell you, I feel a little better.
It helps, man. It helps. There's 2 things that can help in situations like this. You throw up, or you just take an EpiPen and give yourself an adrenaline shot.
Yeah, I'm not.
I would never do
stuck in adrenaline EpiPens.
I saw a movie called Novocaine where that's what the guy kept doing. He kept hitting himself with an EpiPen.
Really?
Well, it's a whole long story. The guy, it's a guy who can't feel pain, so he did.
So here we go. David Take Flight Hewson, checking in. AVT is just like Penny. He's like glass, and you hit him, he breaks. Always hurt. Well, I don't know if that's the case. I mean, it's a weird thing because I definitely teeter there, David. But an Achilles injury, it's one of those things. You remember, like, I watched football for 20-something years. I saw no Achilles injuries ever.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, we had that year. We had Aaron Rodgers, we had Al Woods, obviously AVT. Like, we had like 4 different Achilles injuries.
Yeah.
So I think AVT is pretty tough. But yeah, I mean, look, a trend is a trend is a trend. So I don't know if I go all the way where you are, which is that he's Glass Joe from the old Mike Tyson's Punch Out. But he's definitely a flag. So I think getting him in there and then seeing what they have. This is a new regime, right? They got to see what they have in this guy. If they're going to contemplate extending him or whatever. So anyway, let me see. Infrared checking in. He says, for the record, this is on the record, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I will not be mad if we snatch up Tyler Warren, excuse me, at 7. Only because we have not had a solid tight end since the 80s with Schuler, which is utterly embarrassing. I know. And we've had some good ones for a moment, right? Like Johnny Mitchell. I don't know if you remember him, Infrared. Yeah, I don't, I'm not sure how old, but he was so good for like a year and a half.
And then he just fell off the.
Oh, well, he had mental health issues, which we learned later. But, but then it
was so cursed. It was
like, what's his name? Dustin Keller was really good, but he just wasn't a blocker. But he was a really good pass-catching tight end. And then you had, Winslow for a moment. You had Eric Green for a minute, and even Conklin. I think Conklin was underutilized. I think he's a pretty damn good tight end. He blocks well, and he's he's above average pass catcher, good with the ball in his hands. But yeah, I mean, to have that name, somebody who's like clearly tight end 1 and is a badass. We haven't had it really since Mickey Schuler, and it's crazy to think about. So anyway, it would be nice to have it. So I'm with you there, or AVT, I almost called him. All right, the timer is up.
I love it when people say that tight end is bad resource management because of that article. It's like, look at the teams that have won Super Bowls in the last 20 years. Kansas City had Kelsey. New England had Gronk. How are you telling me, how you not look at like Baltimore and how good they've been? How are you not telling me that tight end's not important?
They always have a tight end in Baltimore.
Every great team has a tight end.
Yeah. So this one's going to be Josh Connerly, man, with 61% of the vote. I like it. So we got ourselves a tackle, man. I really like it. I like Josh Connerly. Dom really drove it home for me. But yeah, man, I think he's not getting quite the love, out in the world as some of the other guys, but I have no doubt NFL teams are all over him, so these mocks, these sims don't really have it, quite to the degree I think NFL teams might. Yeah. All right.
And Ethan, because now they're saying, oh, but those guys, the tight ends weren't picked in the first round. Well, I could name players at every position that weren't picked in the first round that are great players. That's all over for every position, dummy.
Right. All right. Let's take a look at the wide receivers now. Kyle Williams, Trey Harris, Savion Williams. All right. So if you got to pick a wide receiver from you, right? Like, we don't get to do this very often anymore, Jeremy. Yeah. So if I'm putting a wide receiver on the poll, who do you want it to be?
Okay. So
remember, guys, we have 2/3 now today. Sorry.
Okay.
Jeremy.
Who did we pick in the second round?
Josh Connerly, the tackle.
Okay. So we got our offensive linemen. We got our tight ends. There's, the good news here is there's like 3 guys here, 3 wide receivers. I mean, I would be happy with, right? Jalen Royals has an incredibly high ceiling, could be the steal of the draft. Kyle Williams, I just got into him. A lot of people love him. And Noel is really good too, right? So you got 3 wide receivers, all have a ceiling that's high enough to be very, very good wide receivers. I think that Royals has the highest ceiling. out of these three. A
He
lot
was
of
a 0-star recruit in high school.
Amazing.
That's interesting. You don't see that very often. 0-star recruit. All right,
a lot of
hold
people love Noel, though. I gotta say, a
on.
lot of
Here's
people
Kyle
love-
Williams, 6 foot 186.
He came out of nowhere. This kid's.
Trey Harris. Let's see real quick. So Trey Harris, who I like, 6'3", 210. I mean, what are you thinking? More of a scat, like a little bit. I mean, neither one of these guys are, 5'9" or anything, but you're looking for a little bit smaller, quicker. I mean, Kyle Williams with that, with that speed. Or you're
Yeah,
looking
I mean,
for another
my
big body?
problem, my issue with Trey Harris is that he's limited in his routes. Like he just runs deep a lot of goes, and he's not a contested catch guy either, so he doesn't complement Garrett Wilson that well. If I'm going to get another guy that's not a big bodied catch contested guy, I mean, I'm much rather going to want someone like a Williams or a Royals. I'm going to want a guy who could potentially a Noel also. I mean, those guys are much better route runners.
So let's put Kyle Williams up there, right? Burner.
He's an people really like him. I
Yeah.
mean,
All right. So Kyle Williams it is. And so let's take a look here we got the safeties. So let's take a look. We got Kevin Winston, Makuba. Maybe we throw Makuba up there. Kevin Winston doesn't get the love, and that's fine.
I'm shocked he's still up there, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he's a badass. Okay, let's go ahead and put Andrew Makuba up there, who I like a whole bunch, by the way. Is it Mukuba? Yeah, Mukuba.
Yeah, Rico, I don't agree. I watched the film. I don't think he's that. He's an okay route runner, but he's not drafting him over those other guys. I mean, there's an okay route runner versus elite route runner. Royals has the highest ceiling in that sense, but Kyle Williams is the burner. Kyle Williams is that big play guy. He's a home run hitter. Get a touchdown at any given moment.
All right, so let's see what else we got here. So I put Makuba up there. Let's look at some defensive tacks. We got Jordan Phillips, Jamari Caldwell. We could throw Caldwell up there. Everybody seems to, he was like the first month he was in every draft.
Yeah, what happened, man? He fell off the face.
Well, we get bored, Yeah,
that's
what happened.
Yeah.
And let's take a look at cornerback, maybe.
Corner.
Maybe not yet.
You can look at corner. There's a cornerback I like that's typically slips really far. It's pretty cool. Oh, there he is. Oh, he's ranked higher on this one. Williams.
Noel Williams. All
Well,
right.
he's my favorite one that's left on this board. So, but that's me personally.
All right. All right, you got Noel Williams, everybody. So the poll is started. You guys are going to get 3 minutes to vote on it. And once we get out of the third round, we'll move it to 2-minute timer.
We gotta show who we've already picked.
All right.
We're asking for who we picked.
No problem. You ask, you receive. Well, let's get to David B. David Bruce. What's up, David Bruce from the great land of Scotland? Saying good morning. Good morning to you, sir. Have some nice Scottish coffee or tea, and the blood sausage. We've done this. You know how we like to share breakfast stories with David Bruce. So welcome, buddy. So Ethan is really not loving the idea of tight end in the top 10, and I respect that. But again, you got to look at what the draft is. So a lot of the time, the idea of a tight end, and I've shared with you guys many times. The truth is tight end is my favorite position in the entire sport. If done right, a tight end can literally change everything. If you have a legitimate blocker, like in line, can be an asset and can be is a true passing threat. And when the ball's in his hands, doesn't like to go down like those guys, the Gronkowski. I mean, he's he's just, I hate it, but he's the epitome of this thing. So it's like when you look at a guy like that on the field, it can change everything. But that said, you know, it's not a premium position, and you can, you know, like you're saying before, Ethan, you know, with resource management, you're right. At the same time, when you look at like the strength of positions and look, maybe you think, hey, look, Tyler Warren to me is no better than Loveland and maybe, you know, Mason Taylor or Arroyo, what they can do for us. So then you wouldn't do that. But if you feel like the drop off is significant, you know your quarterback is going to be leaning on the tight end position. And you want that offensive line help a little bit, you know what I mean? So like it depends on what's there in the draft. Like Jeremy was talking about before, it's really not a blue chip draft. So you got to like shed that a little bit. Like, you know, you can't be a prisoner to mindsets, right? Like, well, I never do this because of this. Well, if the draft is different and calls for something else, you can expand your thinking a bit. But I hear you. But I think, you know, if the Jets decide to take Tyler Warren, which I think they're going to, if he's there, of course, you know, it's just all about how they use him, and it can be a very, very valuable pick, you know, because he's going to function as a receiver. And then he's still got some work to do, but he can function as a, you know, an inline blocker, helping out the, you know, the tackles for, you know, protection and everything. So anyway, I think it could be a good move. I'm going to end this poll and see what happens here, Jeremy. Oh, looks like Kyle Williams.
Wow. Okay, then want to go wide receiver. I can't argue with that. You know, we could argue all day who the better wide receiver is. And let me tell you, everyone thinks they're right. Everyone thinks they know which wide receiver is going to be better. If you don't put the IMO next to your comment of this receiver's better, that one's, it's really hard to like really, like, are you right every year about all your players? Like, none of us are. Like, we're just giving our opinions. You know, I think, I don't know which of those 4 wide receivers is going to be better. We're going to have our favorites.
Yeah. Well, it goes with the system too, though, Jeremy, too. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's about the quarterback. It's about the system. Yeah. Like you look at Malachi Corley, the poor kid. If he went to the Chiefs, I imagine Reed would have, like, let's say it was Reed saying, no matter what, I want this guy. They would have found a way to get him on the field and work through whatever rookie issues he has and everything. And he would have been an asset. There's no doubt in my mind. He's the fucking Yak King. So, you know, anyway, let's get to this super chat here from the great T. Rivera. Thank you, buddy. He says, what's up, GreenBean Chaos? Don't know about you or ya, but if Graham is there at 7, we need to run to the podium. But if not, shout to shine. A trade back with the Saints, right? Yeah. Because, you know, with the whole Derek Carr issue now, one more trade to 15 or 16, he said, to load up. Yeah, I mean, look, man, that's my preferred action in this draft. If, you know, look, and if the Saints want to jump up from 9, I think they are 9 to 7, and they're willing to give you little, you know, they give you a little something, a 3rd round pick for the 2-spot jump or whatever it might be. And look, because if Sanders slides to 7 and you're able to do that, absolutely slide back to 9. And like T. Rivera is saying here, Jeremy, you know, maybe even another slide back. But I don't know who they're coming up for. You know, like you said, Mason Graham. I think Mason Graham's great. And look, the Jets might surprise us and go that route if he's there. And I think he's one of those players that teams are going to fall in love with. So if he slides, maybe. But I don't know how much they're going to be willing to give up other assets to move up for the player. That's what I struggle with. How do you see it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Mason Graham is a player that might attract someone to trade up a couple of spots. I don't see no one's trading up from 20 and giving us the value that you need, you know, for Mason Graham, because there's good interior defensive guys, right? Like in this draft, there's no way you're trading the true value of what it would cost to trade up. But to trade a 3rd round pick to say we love Mason Graham, that's possible because this is a guy who could easily go to 3rd pick, 4th pick, 5th pick, you know, Jacksonville 5th pick. I mean, this is a top 5 worthy pick. So if he's down at 7 and someone says, "Oh wow, we can go up and get him," and we just, I could see that happening. I think the most realistic thing that someone would trade up for, if somebody loves him, is Shedeur Sanders. I mean, if you got a team, and we don't know what's going on in their rooms, but if there's a team that, like, if Pittsburgh is sitting there saying, "We believe this kid Sanders is going to be a great quarterback," if they believe it, you don't know, anything is possible, on who's going to trade up and what they'll give. So we don't know. I mean, I don't expect it. This is not the kind of draft where I expect there to be much. The phone's not going to be ringing that much because, again, the lack of blue chip prospects up top. But I mean, if you said to me, who would they be trading up for? I would say, well, if Mason Graham slips, somebody might trade up. If Genty slips, Dallas, might trade up, or who knows, I mean, but Sanders is the quarterback. It's always the quarterback that people trade up for, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And that's what we like to get to Ethan's point before a little bit, like another angle. It's, positional value, a quarterback, you think these guys are going in the top 2, 3, 4. And then if they slide to 7, that's striking distance. Like, holy shit. Okay, well, I can reach them now. I don't have to give up next year's draft, to get them. So anyway, it could work. But all right, so here we go. I got I'm putting Andrew Makuba back up there for safety. We're at pick 96, guys. This is one of the picks that we acquired. In our trade up, we moved up from our 4th round pick to 96, gave up 6th or one of our 5ths, maybe it was, to get up here. So this gives us 2/3.
What tight end did you put up there for them to choose from?
Well, we got Tyler Warren.
We took Tyler Warren. Okay, we got Connor Lee.
So, I mean, I'm not against it. We can do that, but I want to look around. So we also need a safety. We got to go interior offensive line a little bit. We did grab Connerly for right tackle, but at some point we got to start looking at some interior offensive line depth. We need some defensive tackle help and linebacker. Don't forget, we really only have 2 for a 4-3 base. So, I think if you had to pick between Bassa and Kaiser, who you going with? Bassa coming out of Oregon, Kaiser coming out of Notre Dame. I also like Kobe King a little bit. I don't know too much about Barrett Carter. But Stutzman's in there, he's not, I think he's realistically going to be a little bit later, 4th. But anyway, Kaiser, Bassa, what are you thinking?
I'm a West Coast guy, man. So, the guys from Oregon stick out to me. I always love those players because I watch a lot of them. So it's not coming from film or anything like that. I didn't put a lot of focus on linebackers, but my heart is just looking at the guy I've watched and seen play, like when I'm watching games out here on the West Coast. So I would probably take, if I was going to take a linebacker, it would be Bassa.
All right. Yeah. Well, I happen to like Bassa too. So, it's not you're not being foolish or anything. Yeah. I see some Bassa love in the chat from Frederick Smith and E-Boogie. So we'll throw him on the poll. Let's look at the interior offensive line. See what we got here.
Oh, tell me Miles Frazier's up there somewhere.
Yeah, let's see. So let me get the linebackers off there.
Yeah, get those linebackers off there.
Well, I already got one. So, all right, we got Seth McLaughlin, Willie Lampkin, is a goodie, Luke Condra. Let's say, I'll tell you, the Ohio State thing, Seth McLaughlin. But let's put Luke Condra up there. He's a guard. And remember, what we're looking for here is some depth. Now, maybe you don't want to do that yet. We're in the 3rd round. Maybe you want to try to squeeze some sort of player that you feel like we could look at, double dipping at tight end or double dipping at wide receiver. We'll do that.
Sure.
What did I say? Who did I say? Oh, yeah, Luke Condra.
I think some of the double dip tight end type guys will be there in the next round, though, to be honest. Next couple of rounds.
Yeah, well, let's see what we got here because you might be right. Okie dokie. Tight ends. Where are you, buddies? Here we go. Well, Fannin.
Ooh, wow. Whoa.
Let's see. Harold Fannin.
There's some great value there, man. That's hard. Gunnar Helm or Fannin, either one of those here at this point of the draft, even though I'd be thrilled. But I mean, Jackson Hawes is the kind of guy you can get a lot later, and it's a nice compliment.
And he's just a fucking blocker, man. Like
I mean, it's boring. It's boring. I know.
Well, for me, because I'm a believer, like we are, I just like my tight ends to be tight ends, like not a glorified tackle.
Well, that's Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm is Fannin is the more explosive.
Yeah, I put Fannin up there. I like Gunnar Helm too.
Yeah. Yeah. Fannin was fun at the Senior Bowl, man. He's an emotional, fired up kind of energy guy. He's got you know what I mean? Like he fired everybody up. Like, he was fun. But he's not going to be your blocker. You're not lining in, and he's not going to be your inline blocker. He's definitely going to be in the slot most of the time.
Let me see though. I was reading something on him. A little while back, but hold on a second. I want to see where he is in his blocking. Harold Fannin, everybody. Yeah, like you said, more known for pass catching, but let's see here. So this one has him rated as the 3rd overall tight end in the draft.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is crazy value to see him over here, man. But Gunnar Helm is good too. It's like,
yeah, so he's only 230 pounds. So that's another. Maybe I wouldn't have gone with him. I thought he was a little bit bigger. So that's going to be a problem for the blocking aspect. And, it's like he's going to essentially, like you're talking about, essentially be relegated to being a pass catcher. Which, look, you need your tight end to do that. But again, I'm a big fan of tight ends that can be an asset in the blocking game. Now, Fannin will be decent. He'll make his impact blocking downfield with the DBs, which is still necessary. He's still developing a counter move against physical press coverage. That's what I was pulling up. So that's the thing that rubs me a little bit. Like, look, they're tight ends. You don't expect them to be, all that crisp per se. At the same time, if you're a tight end, you got to not be getting stuck at the line. I'm a huge believer in that. Like, no. You're a tight end. You don't get jammed, even by linebackers.
Right. And there's a legitimate argument out there. Someone is talking about it out there, that Fannin, playing for Bowling Green, you're not playing against the greatest competition. But I've seen, and I understand that concern, but I've seen teams make horrible mistakes passing on guys because of that.
Because of it. Yeah. I mean, you got to weigh it in, though. It's got to be.
Yeah. You got to weigh it in. The fact, I mean, one of the things that helped get me over that was that he went to the Senior Bowl and he's playing against the best, and we watched him and he looked like the same explosive, fun player that we saw playing for Bowling Green, even though the competition had got a lot better.
All right, here we go. So while we're doing the poll, please get your votes in, guys. Let's get your voices heard. Matthew Malavey is checking in. Thanks, Matt. Good to see you, bud. No tight end in the first round drives me nuts. We've been bad for so long. Be happy we get the number 1 ranked tight end. You can catch, throw, block, and run. Well, and the thing is, at 7, you got a good chance of getting the number 1 position, number 1 player on your board at lots of positions, right? Now, most of them are going to be at positions that are not what we would call premium, whether it's line. Look, you can get the top linebacker, you can get the top safety, you can get the top tight end. Mason Graham, but you're going to get, one of the number 2 tackle in the entire class. There'll be a couple offensive tackles taken, but you can, so you can still, you're going to get that. That's the thing. It's like, if you have an opportunity to fill a hole and get the guy on your board at the position, it's still there. That increases the value somewhat. So, all right, let's end this poll here.
And then when you make the selection, show everybody who we picked so far.
Sure thing. You got it, buddy.
People are constantly joining late, so.
Yeah. All right, look, it looks like it's going to be Andrew Makuba, the safety.
Wow. Okay.
I like it. There you go. Okay. All right, so let me show you what we got here. Where's my picks? Okay, guys. Remember, we traded up twice in this draft using our late round picks to come on up and get a little bit more quality pick as opposed to just having the 8 picks. So we started with pick 7. We got Tyler Warren out of Penn State, tight end, and we got Josh Connerly, the tackle out of Oregon. We followed that with pick 73, Kyle Williams, wide receiver out of Washington State. And then we got our first acquired pick 96, Andrew Makuba, the safety out of Texas. So we only got 2 more picks, Jeremy. Look at this.
Yeah, I got to say, as far as 7, obviously there's no one the Jets are going to pick that's going to make everybody happy, right? No matter who the Jets pick,
yeah, of course,
there's a lot of angry people. I got to say this year, it could be Ted McMillan, it could be Matt Golden, it could be Tyler Warren, it could be Membu, any of those guys, and I'm not going to be fuming. Like, I'm not going to be angry. It could be any of those 4 guys. I'm okay with it.
Now, here's the thing. Because it's not about always the position, it's the player, right? So if they decided, hey, we think Arroyo is the number 1 tight end, and we're going to take him with pick 7, then it's like, all right. What do we got here? We got Idzik, Is that what's going on?
No, they can't. They can't do that. That's why, to me, it has to be one of those guys. Like, it has to be Tyler Warren, Ted McMillan, Membu, or for a wild card. I say that I could live with Golden. I'm not saying I would do it. I'm saying I would live with it, and I wouldn't freak out too much, because honestly, I would understand why if they took Golden.
So I'm going to go ahead and put a quarterback up here. I'm going to put Tyler Show up there, the quarterback out of Louisville, just for fun. Let me get back to the full draft here.
Oh, okay.
See all these guys. There goes Jonas Sanker.
Still there? Sanker was still there.
If we need Amari Caldwell. Look at that.
Okay. I was going to say Aeneas Peebles is still up there too. So
Aeneas. Well, I was just going to look at the defensive tackles. That was my next thing here. So let's take a look at the defensive tackles. We should probably look at. I don't know. Do you want to look at running backs? Ty Robinson.
I just don't even know. I'm not saying they wouldn't do it in the 6th round, but I don't even know. You have 3 running backs already. You have a 4th running back that's special teams. How are you even going to fit a running back on the roster?
Yeah, I don't think. I'm there. So, all right, who do you like out of the defensive tackles here? Aeneas Peebles was taken. Jamari Caldwell was taken right before us here.
That sucks.
Yeah, I'm not too up at Tonka in a little bit, but
yeah.
Put Ty Rob. Let me see something here. I just want to look at the fatness.
Yeah, see that. 25. There you go. He's 23, senior. That means he'll play right away.
Yeah, there you go. So JJ Peggies. All right.
Oh, I like those guys from Mississippi, though. Eating a lot of them crawfish.
And let's get some interior offensive line cooking here. Oh, did we? I think no, we didn't get one. Okay, so we'll throw Luke Condra up there again.
Okay.
And
Eags has versatility. Okay, that's good to know.
So let's look at the wide receivers, man. We can double dip there too. We got 2 more picks, so we gotta be smart here. Ty Felton's still there. Isaac Tesla's hanging around. Dante Thornton's my favorite here, but I like Ty Felton.
He's good. You're local to him, so you probably have heard his name called a few times.
Yeah, he's 6'2",
around those parts.
186 pounds. So as a wide receiver, 3-4, that's what we're looking for here, Torrey Horton. I'm going to put Dante Thornton up there. I don't give a shit. I like him. Yeah, have you spent any time looking at him?
No. I with wide receivers, I didn't get that deep. I mean, some of the guys in the back end that I got into was a little bit of Ty Felton, and then he's off the board. In some boards, he's still there, but I mean, I guess he's moved up. Nick Nash, obviously being from San Jose State. I lived in San Jose for a long time. I'm an hour and 40-minute drive from San Jose State, so he's on the local news here all the time.
Yeah, I'm all about Nick Nash.
Yeah, I've been looking at him for a while. You know, it's really funny. I don't think he meant it. I think he was just doing it to bother me. But when I said to Tigo about 2-3 months ago, I said, Nick Nash, a guy in San Jose State, what do you think? I know he doesn't play against great competition, but he's huge. He was a quarterback. He just switched positions. And I swear to God, I think he did it just to bother me. Tigo goes, I wouldn't even take him as an undrafted free agent because I wouldn't want to use up the roster spot. We only could take 90 guys into camp.
What an asshole. That's funny. Danger Zone checking in with his Streambeaner super chat. Thanks for the support, my friend.
I love this guy.
He says, more chaos green bean pairings, please. It reminds me of a time long before I got shattered by the thought of a Hall of Famer breaking our curse. Yeah. Well, and Jeremy and I still do the live game streams together. So, look, like we talked about the other night, you need a break after that. We spent a lot of very, very shitty time together this year.
We did.
17 games, only 5 of them were happy.
Yeah. Plus, you have to put up with my nonsense in our chats and our private
chats.
But hey, Dano, I gotta say, Dano is he's awesome. He's in Oregon now, so he's not far from me, and I definitely want to go out and hang out with him.
Oh, you should. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So, all right, there it is. So let's go ahead and end the poll. How many votes we get? 35. Not very many. But the poll is ending. And look at this, Dante Thornton. Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing. I like it. You got to check him out. He's a big body, deep threat, man. Super, not super fast, but he's got that like long stride breakaway speed. You don't want him trying to be a surgeon in the middle of the field, but contested catch, deep route. I like him. You just, you get him, you get the ball in his hand a few times every game, that kind of a thing. You're playing your brand of smash mouth football, and then you just send them deep. You got everybody playing in the box, trying to stop what you're doing, and then just throw it up. It's that kind of guy.
Look who's sitting up there top. There's going to be some sentiment for R.J. Mickens.
Yeah, but we already got a safety, so we can double dip. I'll throw R.J. Mickens up there, and we gotta. I think Dom's not here, so we'll take this opportunity to throw a kicker up there. Dom is really kicker reverse. So
yeah, the only thing with kicker, it's like it. I think what's going to determine it for them is how many they like. If there's only one that they like and it's a top one, they might do it. But if there's like 3 that they could live with any of the 3, they'll wait and just sign one of them as an undrafted.
Yeah. But see, my thing is like I've said a million times, when you're in the 6th round and you're looking at these players, and more than likely they're going to need development, they're going to need a year, 2 years development. Maybe their ceiling is special teamer and all that kind of shit. Like, you can use a 6th round pick and guarantee that you have an impact starter in the 6th round. Like, I just don't see, especially when you don't have one. Like, the kicker is so vital.
Yeah.
And then, like, you got to remember, undrafted free agent, maybe they don't want to come here. They're like, fuck off. I'd rather go play in Arizona.
Yeah.
So then it's like there's no guarantee you get one.
There's so many memories of my world that my stomach turned when you said kicker is so vital. It brought back that memory of 2004 as I lay face down in a bar crying when we played Pittsburgh to get into the AFC Championship game. And a kicker that we drafted in the 2nd round couldn't do it and missed 2 easy field goals.
I know, he sucked. He ended up, he had a nice career, but he sucked for us.
And then most recently, I sat for 8 hours in the rain, freezing, and then watched a kicker have to all walk away in defeat. So yeah, kickers are vital.
Vital, dude.
Especially if we get where we want to go. Like if we eventually finally get into the playoffs, you're not going to want to be in that playoff game living with the idea in your head that we don't have a reliable kicker.
Wow, this is a offensive heavy draft, everybody.
Yeah,
you only got a safety. The rest is offense. I don't mind it at all, Jeremy.
Yeah,
let's take a look. Yeah, let's take a look at the linebackers, see who we still got around.
It's okay that we're not going to get every position addressed. Like it's okay. It's not possible.
Totally. I'm going to put Dumas Johnson up there. Let's see. Dumas Johnson, linebacker. We'll find ourselves. We got a Ray Mickens' son.
We didn't get another tight end yet.
We didn't? Let me see.
And we didn't get an interior offensive lineman. We didn't get a guard.
We never did it, huh? Dylan Fairchild. There's Miles Frazier. We'll throw him up there.
Oh, wow. That's a steal. Miles Frazier is the biggest steal right now. I can't believe it's amazing how low he's ranked in these drafts. It's like people are just sleeping on this kid.
Well, I know. Well, I know these. Well, the Sims, you know what I mean? They don't know these guys.
Man, I would have picked Miles Frazier the last pick. I'd be running.
And felt great about it.
I know. I'd run up there and get Miles Frazier and dance all the way home.
All right, this is going to be a tough one for the chat because we got R.J. Mickens. He's a fan favorite. We got Miles Frazier. He's another one everybody likes. And then we're throwing the kicker up there. So it's going to be tough. I need everybody to vote on this last pick, everybody. So I'm going to put the timer on. I'll give us 3 minutes for this one because it's going to be difficult for everybody. That's what I think. Let's get your votes in. We still got 146 hanging out on YouTube. We got another, 114 on X. So 146, 148 now. Let's see if we can get this poll up so we can really get a read on what everybody's talking about, what everybody's feeling here. Again, you got Miles Frazier. People love him, and he's a great pick. You got R.J. Mickens, I think, would be a great developmental safety.
Yeah, he'd be
Dumas Johnson is a linebacker a lot of people like. Ryan Fitzgerald, a kicker that we need. So it's an interesting one here.
I watched an hour. I spent an hour and a half with Tom C. watching Miles Frazier, watching his film literally about 7 days before we met up at the Senior Bowl. And we loved him, and nobody knew who he was, barely. And when we got there, we were already talking him up, and he won offensive lineman position, like player of the week at the Senior Bowl against everybody else that was there. And he was so good the first 2 days in practice at guard. They tried him out and tested him out at tackle and let him do reps at tackle, and he didn't lose a rep.
And he dominated.
He was so good.
Yeah, can you imagine, like, you're in the 6th round, late 5th round, and you pull up Miles Frazier? And that's what great teams do all the time, man. You know, like the Jets, like, look, yeah, I'll give Joe Douglas credit. Like, look, he found Sherwood. He found Michael Carter II, even Pinnock, who we ended up exposing to waivers, but he got plucked. But these are players, look, they do well. But it's like you look at, certain drafts, and we do all this research on these guys and everything, and we're screaming. It's the 5th round and 6th round. You're like, dude, what the fuck? Dude, take this guy. I mean, he's a 2nd round, 3rd round talent. And the Jets just bypass him, and then you see him go to the Chiefs, you see him go to the Ravens, and they're great.
Yeah. Zach Frazier is the guy from last year, another Frazier, interior guard, won the rated the #1 rookie guard drafted last year. I think it was 3rd, 4th round he was drafted. We were screaming about him.
Yeah. And
guess what? Dom C is bigger on this guy than he was on Zach Frazier.
Yeah, he loves the Frazier.
And you loved what's his face, the guy who slipped the year we took Zach Wilson, the guy who slipped out of the 1st round, the center for Kansas City.
Yeah, Creed Humphrey. And then there was that same draft. It was Trey Smith. He was being talked about as a 1st round pick, and he had the blood clot thing. He slipped all the way to the last 3 picks of the 6th round.
It's ridiculous that we.
And how do you not take a chance on that guy?
Yeah, it's
like
ridiculous.
that's fine. Look, we were in the late 6th. That's worth taking a shot. Nope. We got, you know who we took right before him, a couple picks before him? Jonathan Marshall. Good stuff.
God.
All right, we're ending this poll. It is, Jeremy, Miles Frazier.
Nice. Good job, Chad. Good job.
Good job.
That was so easy for me. I mean, I would love, you know, if we still had another pick, I would love the story of picking RJ Mickens. But we got to take the best player.
Yeah,
Miles Frazier gives us depth, man.
No doubt. I'm right there with you. Yeah. So here's our draft, and we'll get the letter grades and everything, guys. Is a little, again, we compressed it, we condensed it for hopefully what ends up being quality over quantity. We started out pick 7 with Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. We followed that at pick 42 with Josh Connerly, the tackle out of Oregon. This allows ABT to stay inside. We got Kyle Williams, the wide receiver. What the fuck just – oh, they're grading it. See that? I'm like, you sons of bitches. I
got we lost it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason we double dipped on wide receivers, everyone has to realize you're not just dipping for this coming season. Alan Lazard is gone after this year.
Yeah.
Right. We need another receiver or 2 receivers. But by next year, this time, all we have is Garrett Wilson and a guy we know nothing about in Corley. That's all we got.
That's it. So, all right, here we go. So again, Tyler Warren, Josh Connerly. They liked Connerly. Didn't look. They said you should have drafted Tet. Like, who are you? Get out of here. We followed that with Kyle Williams, the wide receiver, at pick 73. Then we did the trade. So we got pick 96. We drafted safety Andrew Makuba.
They give a F on Miles.
And we got an A for that one. Yeah, look, how do you get an F? A pick, anyway. So because they got him as a 6th round pick. So Dante Thornton as a wide receiver at pick 126, and we followed that with guard. They gave a F for Miles Frazier at pick 186. They don't like him.
He's going to make a lot of people feel really silly. Watch.
Yeah, we got to make sure we remind these buttholes. So, all right, man. Let's get your letter grades in here. So they gave us 2 C's, an A plus, an A, and 2 Fs.
Yeah, well, Connerly would be an absolute steal at 42. Like, that would be a dream. I have no problem taking Warren or McMillan or Golda. If we knew for sure we're going to get Connerly in the 2nd round, then it's a no-brainer you wait to the 2nd round.
Yeah. Well, let me ask Manny. He says we got 6 picks and you guys are double dipping at wide receiver. I see no issue with it. But let me ask you, Manny, did you vote? Because we were only getting 35, 45, 50 votes.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I don't know why I'm taking it so personally when people are criticizing the draft. They're the ones that chose it, not us. We put
the players up there.
We put defensive tackles up there every single round. The chat chose not to take it.
Sons of bitches. So, Jeremy, if you could read the letter grades for me. Let me see. Hold on.
Wow, Piddlepill's a low life, man. There's some real low lives.
Hold on. All right, you can't do it. So I got it for you, buddy. All right, here we go. Hold on. All right. Where do we go? So Jason Zayas checking in first. He says we got a B. Mr. Roberts with an A. Rover Bet with a solid B. TL with a C minus. Jason Valente says A minus. Would have rather Noel at wide receiver and Winston at safety. Yeah, that's a good argument. Hank G says B plus. Mark Sacchetti with a B. Good to see you, Hank. I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute. E Boogie with an A plus. He likes this one. Lots of offense. This is an offensive heavy draft, which, hey, man, I'll tell you what, if they decided to do that, I don't mind it.
And what's the biggest problem with this franchise in the last freaking forever?
That's right. We finally get a young, up and coming offensive mind in here, and you give him give him some toys. Give him what he needs. Let's get to scoring some points.
Yeah, we'll fix the defense later. I mean, like again, I've said it from the beginning. It's not going to be fixed in one offseason.
Right.
It just isn't.
We just got to do enough to win some games. You know what I mean? I don't want this year to be like a throwaway.
It is surprising we didn't take a defensive tackle in a draft that's just loaded with defensive tackles.
Loaded.
But that was the chat's choice, man. You put one in there for every.
We put them up there a few. Definitely a few of the polls. AJ says, "What's up? What's up with you?" And he gives it a B+. Bradigan comes in, says A+ for GreenBean for getting through this one. I know I'm feeling nauseous again. Solid B with the draft. No kicker though. I know, right, Bradigan? I would have liked to see the kicker, but you can't pass on Miles Frazier there. Piddly Poo says, Jesus, this guy's brain dead later. Who's brain dead? Bean? Chaos?
Probably me.
Yeah, probably.
But like as if I made the picks myself.
Just because of our opinions. Piddly Poo, he doesn't agree with your opinions. Maybe it's me. Who knows?
Yeah.
Harlan checking in with a C.
Resort to insults.
Howie, the Jets headquarters, says D+. Love Warren and Connerly, but not coming away with a defensive tackle in a draft that's very deep at a position is unforgivable. Right. That's what Jeremy was just talking about.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah. Hey, but look, I mean, I think it's, clearly everybody's getting fatigued. We only have one more because 4 weeks ago, we're getting 100 and 130 votes. Now it's hard to break 50 the last couple weeks. So we're here, but nobody's engaged, which I get. I understand. It's
wow.
Fine.
E-Boogie with the positive.
Yeah. Well, Thomas Gannett says A. Matthew Malavey says, I say B only because I wish we took a defensive tackle. Right. Love the quality 2 wide receivers. I know, man. I don't know why you'd have a problem with 2 wide receivers. I mean, dude, we have fucking hot garbage,
Well, I mean, there's different mentalities. People are drafting for this season, but I don't think that's what GMs do.
Yeah, but even still, grabbing. I don't really love. I mean, I like Kyle Williams, and I was like really into him for a minute about I don't know 3 weeks, a month ago, and I still like him, but he's not the guy I'd want to see brought in. You know what I mean? He's just not the guy for me. But Garrett Wilson needs some help, man. And yes, we got Reynolds and that other guy Smith or whatever, and then with Lazard's around, I still believe in Corley, but our wide receiver room is a question mark at best, Yeah. So bringing in some bodies, man, bringing in some guys to help out. I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, shit.
Man, it would be great if Corley could just pan out for us, man.
Yeah, I think he will.
I just hope it's just that he needed new coaches,
Yeah, these guys sucked, man. They were garbage, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Frederick Smith with a grade C, no help on defense. Quinnen Williams, no help on the D-line. But here's the thing. You guys don't remember. We have Fedarian Mathis and LT3 sitting here stewing. So I'm really excited about those. Fedarian Mathis, nobody's talking about it. I think good. Leave it there. I think he's going to be a badass. I mean, we loved him coming out. Yeah. Aaron Daniels, not my favorite draft, but quality players, say a solid B. Right on. Zachary Berner with a B+. If we had one more pick for the kicker, it'd be an A. Yeah, I know. I hear that's the thing. We compressed it to 6, so we lost out on some of the stuff we're used to seeing.
That's great.
Curly Norman with the C+. Sean Dog with the B. Sean the Jet says C+. Piddly Poo says C-. Let's see.
It's so hard to get the guys you want. Even there's so many guys we like and we're all talking about it. And how many years do we do this? We go into the draft and by the 3rd round, they're picking guys that we never even talked about or mentioned.
Oh yeah, guys. I mean, dude, look at Stiggers last year. We were like, what? I asked Dom C, what do you know about Stiggers? He goes, I never even fucking heard of Stiggers. And that's Dom.
Yeah.
E-Boogie checking in says, with this mock, the Jets are 10-7. A+. There you go. I like it. John gifting a GreenBean Stream Beaner membership. Let's see who got it.
Wow, who got it?
Let's see who got it.
Well, thank you, Chris Bradigan. I love Chris Bradigan.
Yeah, he's
Bradigan.
Man, my shit's all frozen over here. My YouTube's frozen. Let me get out of this.
Flight Boys liked it too. Look at this.
Where is it? Hold on a second here.
I don't know why I'm saying thank you to the people who like the draft. It wasn't my draft.
Howie, the Jets headquarters, got the memberships. There you go. Congrats, Howie. And thanks, John. You're the man. Jake Assman checking in, hanging out with us. Death taxes, mock draft, baby. It never stops. Oh, it'll stop, Jake. And right on time, baby. It'll stop right on time, man.
It stops the day after the draft.
Yeah, that's it. It's good to see you, Jake. RB A- with limited picks. Love the guys who picks. Would have preferred good players left at defensive tackle, edge, linebacker instead of another wide receiver. But yeah, Corley, yeah, I know. And I could see that too. I think it all makes sense. I know Piddly Poo, Savion Williams is one of my guys too. Like I like him. But, you know, as you dig in, he does have a lot of drops. So I don't know if we want to bring that on. We already have Lazard. You know, we have a guy that's going to drop plenty of passes for us. So I don't know.
He has high ceiling, low floor.
He's my kind of player, man.
Yeah.
Plays the position the way I like to see it played. But you can't drop the ball, you know. But I'm with you on Savion Williams. All right, I think so. Jeremy, let's do one more. Mikael Arrington says F-. Y'all took Warren from us. Denver guy. Just kidding. Good for you. Yeah. Well, hey man, good to see you, Mikael.
Any chance Denver would trade up to get Teller? I doubt it.
No. I mean, who knows? Maybe. Jeremy, what's your letter grade on this one, buddy?
I think it's a B.
Yeah.
I think it's a B.
B.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm not happy that we lost out on defensive tackle either. But again, going with the philosophy that I've had, if we can't trade down, we're not going to get enough picks to fix everything. We're going to fall short somewhere. But you know, this draft to me, we know we got our tight end one now. We know we got our right tackle. We got a really exciting fast wide receiver that opens up the offense. With this, you got a guy who's going to be a day one starter at safety. We'll see if he works out. He has a lot of potential. You know, Thornton is a development guy. We'll see what happens. You know, he could be, you know, again, very low floor, but a ceiling. Like he could be a steal in the draft. And then Miles Frazier gives us, this is my favorite part of the draft, because right at the end there, you just get a steal in this guy. You get a guy who could step in day one if you needed him to play guard. And right away, you have this depth that if you don't have to panic or get nervous. And next year, if we can't keep both Simpson and AVT, we have our next guy up.
Yep, love it. Whoops, what the hell just happened there? Come on. So I'm right there with you. I think this is a solid B. I could even go into the B+ range. Again, you know, like you said, I mean, you said it well. You know, both Kyle Williams and Dante Thornton, their speed and they open up the offense. So like that's a positive, you know. I just don't know. I'm not confident that Kyle Williams is going to be an immediate impact. I don't know. So it's a little early for that, but I do like him. So, but anyway, yeah, I think this is like the solid B for me. I think this is a good draft, you know, better than, you know, 15 straight years of Jets drafts not too long ago. Love Makuba. Yeah, I think it's solid, man. Solid draft. The first two picks are really solid, and then we got some really quality players with real upside sprinkled throughout. So I like it. B for me, everybody. No, Piddly Poo. Connerly's better than Ursery.
I don't, you know, I can't, because I don't know where it comes from. Like maybe he watches film and has a different opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, you're right.
I don't know. But when I watch the film, the 3 games that the provider that provides us all 22 film, the 3 games I have access to for each of them, they each have like 3 games up on our site. And I don't know, man. It's not what I see. Connerly is Dom C. I'm not going to say I wasn't influenced by Dom C, but Connerly is he's just in those games. He's just looked better.
Yeah, and it's fine. You know, anybody can think how they want to think and feel. You know, we all look at stuff and you like what you like. Sam Aiken checking in. Kyle Williams is plug and play. What tape are you watching? No, I like him. I just look. You know, there's like, look, when I look at guys, I like to watch them against the best competition. I like to see how they do against the best competition. For wide receivers, for me, it's how well, a couple of things. One is how well they get off the line. Number two is how well they get into their breaks, right? Like, so can you legitimately lose a cornerback heading toward the middle of the field? And Kyle Williams does, but again, there's enough that I've seen that I'm like, I just don't know. I'm not 100%. I'm just not confident that he's the guy like that everybody thinks he is. It might, in 2 years, 3, maybe he is. But at pick 73, I'm really hoping to get a guy that can come in. And look, the truth is we're looking at, probably wide receiver 3. But I'm hoping to get a wide receiver 2. That's what I'm hoping to get.
I think he would come in and compete, and they would look at him, and he'd have a chance to compete. Like, they give him the opportunity to unseed Lazard. I don't know that he would. I don't know that he'd be the boundary receiver game 1, like that comes out there, that marches out there. I don't know that for sure, but I think he'd contribute to the team. I think at worst, I think he would have a role. I think he would be a guy who comes in and multi-receiver sets and go deep downfield and be very dangerous, that they have to worry about, right? Because he can, he can go over the top. So, but the question is, will he develop? Like, what is he going to be in year 2, year 3? But I agree, he has a low floor. That's why he's available in the 3rd round. Because if he didn't have a low floor and he was only a high ceiling, he'd be a 1st round pick.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, look, it's good. He's a good 3rd round pick. Again, I like him, but I don't know. I think he's a little bit sloppy, and I don't know, when you're playing against NFL cornerbacks, it's a different deal. So these guys, when they're a little sloppy and they come into the NFL, that shit gets, exacerbated, it gets highlighted.
Yeah, it gets bad. It gets bad.
So,
I will concede one thing with any position, but specifically receiver. I mean, yeah, we might be wrong. All of us, or any of us, might be wrong, really wrong on any of these guys, because how much I believe. I thought Elijah Moore was the second coming. Like, I thought this kid was going to be a freaking megastar. I loved it. So one thing I've been is humbled knowing that, I might be very, very wrong on the players I like.
Yeah, that's a good point, Sam. Brian Thomas Jr. versus Odunze. Again, you got to look at, where they are and all that kind of stuff. But your point's valid, and I'm not discounting your point. It's just how I see it. There are guys that that I'm very confident in, and then there are guys that I see things and I don't know how it translates. And for the Jets, like, the Jets are a very anomalous team. Like, it's like we aren't the team that takes up to this point, like, when they have those things that you need to work on. Like, it's like if they go to the Chiefs, or, and I use them a lot as an example, but they go to the Chiefs, or they go to a team with a viable offensive system, and it's like you don't have any concern. Oh, yeah, they got to work on this and that, and they're going to be great. The Jets aren't that team. I hope we are. I hope we become that. But it's like I get concerned. I want guys that are, especially the top 3 rounds. I just want guys that are a little bit more turnkey. I want Garrett Wilson to have some help. You know what I mean? That's what I want. If you're clearly a big Kyle Williams guy, that's fine. I like him, and I'm no arbiter of the truth or anything like that. I do tend to be right a lot with my guys because I'm not as fanciful as a lot of people. I like my guys, right? But I don't fall as deeply in love with prospects as a lot of other guys do. I tend to look at negatives first. I look at weaknesses a lot, So, like, you can get really caught up in, like, the highlighty stuff. And I tend to look at the weaknesses. Like, if I watch breakdowns that help me out too, especially when this year, I don't have a lot of fucking time this year. So, but I watch that stuff and I read and I do it, but then I watch for myself. I tend to look for the weaknesses. Am I seeing the same weaknesses that other people are seeing? And then a lot of times, I don't. I'm like, I don't know what these guys are talking about. This guy's great at it, whatever. And then there are other times that I'm like, oof.
I
Javelin Guidry, you guys all fucking wanted to hump his leg because he ran fast. He had one good tackle in his career. Great tackle, by the way, of Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
I was like, I fucking couldn't stand Javelin Guidry. You know, the Jets are playing him. I'm like, ugh, this guy. Remember?
I would have probably went Jaden Noel, you know, and that pick that we took, Williams. But I mean, what do I know? It was close. It's close. But like, I would have picked him because what you're saying. He's just Noel's just a really crisp route runner. He's really clean. His upside is he'd be almost like a mini Zach Wilson. Like he'd be like, you know, like maybe not as good, but like that style of player, like really great route runner, you know, like, so I don't know. But I don't know. Kyle Williams, if he hits though, he'd be happy you took him.
Yeah.
You know, he might hit.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, that's gonna wrap it up. There you go. Bradigan agrees with me. There you go. Thank you. And that's how I'm closing it. That's it. I want somebody to agree with me. But guys, have a good night. I made it an hour and 23 minutes. We did it, Jeremy. I thank you for coming to hang out. And I'm really, look, man, we're almost there, guys. I'm so grateful, everybody in the chat. We don't have to agree on everything. But you know, we have some fun looking at this stuff. The draft is coming. And I hope you'll hang out with us on the Talking Jets live stream for all 3 days of the draft. This is our 6th year. Ryan and O'Leary and myself are getting together, and we'll have a blast, man. All 3 days from the beginning to the end, you can hang out with us, and it's the best. So my favorite thing we do all year. So, Jeremy, what do you got coming up you want anybody to know about?
Videos every day at Jets Chaos, or at least five a week. 5 a week now. It's like pumping out videos, pumping out my opinions, my takes, and we because Domsey's on vacation, we skipped a week, but Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, we're breaking down the positions. Domsey is sharing his top 8, top 10, depending on the position. The next one we're going to do next on Sunday is safeties.
There you go. Safeties coming up on Jets Chaos. I will see you. I don't even know when. I don't even know what the day is. Tomorrow night, Talking Jets panel. All right, buddy. That's it, guys. Have a great night. I'm going to go puke. That's what I'm going to do. I can feel it coming. Have a great night, everybody. We will see you. Where is it? Next time.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8.
Johnny Lamb Jones. Wide receiver. As a season ticket holder of the Jets, I'm going to fool Ken O'Brien of California Davis.
Obviously, the Jets know something that, you know, the people up there don't.
Fullback, hello. Roger Vick, Jeff Lageman.
Jets just don't understand the draft all back.
Blair Thomas, running back, Penn State. Johnny Mitchell. The New York Jets select tight end from Penn State, Kyle Brady. Vernon Golson.
Cleveland traded the 5th pick to the New York Jets. And with the 5th pick in the 2009 NFL Draft, New York Jets select Mark Sanchez.
D.
Milner.
Dino Smith. Jets select quarterback Christian Hackenberg.
Sam Darnold.